For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture. And the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe. For the safety-minded who watch everyone's backs, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as safety assessments and training to keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. See ebaymotors.com.
Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Welcome to the Jello Jiggling podcast. I am your host, Ryan Ward, and it's been another crazy week for the Lakers as we enter Friday and what will likely be, I would assume, the last day of NBA basketball for quite some time. The Dallas Mavericks will try to avoid elimination tonight as they go up against the Boston Celtics in Dallas at American Airlines Center, with Boston actually favored by 1.5. Even though the Dallas has been resilient throughout the whole playoffs, I think this is probably it. I think when Luka Doncic fouled out of the game 3 with that blocking foul or whatever, I honestly think he was trying to get fouled out because the way he was playing defense and just swiping and everything and reaching and everything. It's like, dude, he just gave up. He's just like, I'm done. Just give me on the bench. If I'm fouled out, they can't put me back in. But, yeah, that just disaster seems like it's coming into an end tonight. And, I mean, if I were a betting man, which, hey, I love doing parlays just to make, the game interesting. But putting your money on Dallas might be a good bet tonight because they'll have that last push and maybe it's enough. Kind of like Minnesota against Dallas in the last round, but they're done. Like they're just so overmatched. But anyway, that's another thing. That's got nothing to do with the Lakers outside of the Celtics potentially winning 18 titles and surpassing the Lakers, or that's breaking the tie, I guess you'd say, for 17. But then some sad news this week. Lost another legend. Jerry West passed away a couple days ago. Wanted to do a podcast right after that, but it was just an insane day of reactions and just somebody who's just such an icon. Bill Walton was huge. That was a big loss, but Jerry West was just on another level because he was such a great player for one, with the nicknames, the logo, Mr. Clutch, just an incredible basketball player. One of the first superstars ever behind Elgin Baylor, who was his teammate for a long time in LA. He just, talk about impact. He's on the logo. He is the logo. His silhouette is the logo. And even though he never liked that, he never liked that added attention. I don't think he liked attention in general. He wanted them to change it to Jordan years ago. And even when the Kobe discussion came up after Kobe passed, like he was, I'm sure he would have been all for that. I don't know if he ever commented on that or not. I don't remember. But just a devastating loss. He did so much for the Lakers. He, not just as a player. Player, he was like iconic. He only won one title in 72 with Baylor and Chamberlain, not even really Baylor. I think Baylor only played a few games into that season and then retired because he was just tired of battling an injury, I believe, from what I remember. But he was just a titan, man. Like he loved basketball so much he couldn't get away from the game. He's not like some other players that just, they're exhausted afterwards and they just want to be as far away from it as possible. He was a coach for the Lakers for a little bit. He didn't like that because the lack of control of what happens on the floor. He can only tell guys so much. But it's like most great players, they can't make that transition to coaching because normally they would just show you on the floor. They lead by example rather than having the skill of to tell somebody what to do or how to play or whatever. But great basketball mind. Had an incredible relationship with Kobe, who they that relationship stood true and strong for a very long time. And Kobe just said nothing but good things about him. And West was just totally torn up when Kobe passed, just like all of us Lakers fans and diehard Kobe fans. When he passed, it was just so that just in the way it happened and everything, it's just so devastating. With Jerry, he passed away at 86. I assume of natural causes because nothing's come out. It's not like Walton, who apparently was battling cancer. I mean, it was 71, I believe. But it's this crazy thing when he passed, and I heard his age for the first time, and I was like, oh my God, he was 86 years old. Whenever I saw him a few times at games, and then I covered the event when they signed Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. They had a little event in downtown Los Angeles somewhere. And I went when I was with Clutch Points, me and Tamara Azarli, who covers the Clippers, we went to cover it. And Jerry West was there answering questions because, he was helping the front office. That's the only experience I have with him. I wish I would have had something more. I wish I would have talked to him one-on-one just to see, pick his brain and see how he was, because it's that show, Winning Time, obviously painted him as kind of somewhat of a maniac, just could lose his temper really easy and just super passionate. That's what I took from him. I was passionate. I mean, a little off the wall crazy, but I think everybody, those two words right there, passionate and crazy, there's only, there's a thin line between it, right? You go one way or you go the other, but he was definitely that. And then, all the way up to 86, he was helping the Clippers and actively, always active, always up, walking around, never looked fragile or like he was sick or anything, or like he was close to passing. I mean, I think he only recently, interestingly enough, he recently, I think was asked about JJ Redick's comments about Bob Cousy facing plumbers and all that stuff, like basically really bashing on that time, which was, around Jerry, the beginning of Jerry's career, and pissed Jerry off. He was not happy about it. And I don't blame him. I mean, and then he went off to say, what the hell did he accomplish? What did JJ accomplish besides being a shooter? Did he ever change the outcome of games? I thought it was just an epic. Wish I had a soundbite I could put on here. But yeah, he was definitely not a fan of JJ after that. And I was going to put together a reel or something with that on there because I thought that was funny yet telling, because Jerry West was a titan. I mean, he was like, the Michael Jordan back then. Him and Baylor. It was like Baylor was first and West kind of came in and took over. And then you had Will come in toward the end of his career, and they just made a dynamic trio. The only problem is the Celtics were so damn good back then. Like, it's just, that was the one thing that drove West so crazy, is they just could not get the best of the Celtics. And even though they won the title, I believe it was against the Knicks in 72, they didn't beat the Celtics. He wanted to beat the Celtics. He just said it didn't feel as profound not beating the Celtics in the finals because they beat them so many times, which is a shame. But, he got his revenge and helping put together the Showtime Lakers, Magic, Kareem, Worthy, Scott, Cooper. He wasn't the GM to start that, I believe it was Bill Sharman. I think Phil Jackson pointed that out the other day, which I didn't know. I honestly thought West was the GM from the start of that. After like turning down the job as head coach, or offensive coordinator, what Dr. Buss tried to say he was with Pat Riley. He just wasn't built to be a coach. He couldn't deal with the stress and the frustration, which I totally understand. I mean, like I said, I think coaching is a thankless job. Not so much back then because you got a little bit more leeway, but still not great. You deal with all the stress and all the bullshit, and you rarely get thanked for what you do. But he made the transition to the front office eventually, full time, and became arguably the greatest executive we've ever seen. There's somebody said the other day that he had the best week of a GM ever. He traded Vlade Divac to the Charlotte Hornets for the 13th pick in the draft, which turned out to be Kobe Bryant. And then literally a week later signed Shaquille O'Neal, and then the rest is history, right? 3 straight titles eventually. It took a few years or a couple years. But he had that knack, man. Like he just knew what would work together. I think that was the difference. He knew what would work together, but he didn't know how to motivate the players on the sideline, right? Like he put the winning pieces together and had somebody else do that, or he preferred to have somebody else do it because he wasn't. I think he just clearly wasn't built for that kind of, stress. And I think, people that are role players like Pat Riley, who won a title with him in '72 as a player, they were teammates. But Pat Riley was a role player. I mean, he didn't move the needle like Jerry. So Pat Riley seemed to be more equipped to do that, and clearly was. And then Pat Riley kind of followed in his footsteps, making the transition to the front office and being super successful too. I mean, you could say greatest executives ever. You could go West 1A and Pat Riley 1B, right? They just success wherever they went, whatever they did, and then he spent some time with Memphis. He actually traded Pau Gasol to the Lakers, which just helped the Lakers out. Really, it was a terrible trade. Kwame Brown, and I'm trying to remember that deal. Kwame Brown was like the core of it, I think. Mr. Stonehands himself, even though I respect Kwame, I think he's a passionate dude, but man, it was rough watching him play. He couldn't catch a pass to save his life. But that resulted in 2 more titles for Kobe and the Lakers. And then he eventually went to the Golden State Warriors as an advisor, I believe, helped them land Kevin Durant, 2 titles there. He just instrumental to a lot of success in the league, and just highly regarded as, just an icon, just somebody who's just made a profound impact wherever he's gone, and he's really helped the game of basketball. So it sucks, man. It sucks. I mean, it's a really shitty time to be a Lakers fan. It really is, because it's doom and gloom and a lot of sadness and an uncertainty moving forward. Who knows what the hell's going to happen? And that leads to the next thing, Dan Hurley obviously turned down the job about a week ago, or no, a few days ago. Oh, man, this is just I'm exhausted. But anyway, he's been doing a victory lap, which I did not expect. I thought he would take the UConn job, and we wouldn't hear from him again until the NCAA tournament. Nope. Sure enough, he's been talking to anybody that'll listen, and he admitted that he talked to LeBron James recently, or like during that process, about taking the job or whatever. LeBron, I guess said like if he stays, which was strange wording, but that they would be a good combo or whatever. The details of the conversation weren't exactly laid out, but basically it was a touch base thing. And then apparently on the Dan Le Batard show, he said that it was just some form of communication. What people were assuming it's a text message, which is very strange. Wouldn't you just call? I mean, text, hey, this is LeBron. Okay, are you good for a phone call for 5 minutes, 10 minutes? If you really wanted him to come, Wouldn't you just go all out, right? Or vice versa? Like, wouldn't Dan Hurley call LeBron and say, hey, you staying or you going? Right? Like, so who knows? I mean, these reports and these things that people say after the fact are always kind of like cryptic and vague and whatever. You know what? Good riddance, Hurley. You know, I'm tired of hearing your name. There was this, I think, another report that came out today that him and his wife were texting each other, maybe while he was here. And, let's say the decision that we made or what we want to happen at the same time, so one doesn't influence the other. And they're like, 1, 2, 3, stay. I was like, oh, that's special. That's special. Should just draw it out for freaking half a week. But anyway, I don't think that guy was ever leaving. It just doesn't seem like the more that comes out, it's more just like, yes, it was a leverage play, even though he denies it. And he can do that. It's an easy thing to deny. There's no way of truly proving it. But anyway, so immediately after that was done, supposedly Redick, there's an interview, or he has been interviewed. I mean, that's another vague thing that's being tossed around, like whether or not he interviewed the first time or just talked to Pelinka or whatever. So Redick's back in the mix, as you'd expect. But in a little throwback, just to get a little more positive side. Today, June 14th, is the anniversary of Kobe winning his 4th ring with the Lakers, beating the crap of the Orlando Magic in 5 games. Epic title for him. Kind of indicated everything that he had done leading up to that point, and all the frustration and the team not really putting anybody around him until Powell came along. Besides Odom, obviously, but and that was the title where he finally won one without Shaq, and Shaq kind of shut up for a bit until, or Shaq won one first. I think it was 06, and then Kobe goes and wins one in 09, and which turned out to be the first of back-to-back. Went on and beat the Celtics ass in 7 games the year after, which was an epic series, even though, Game 7 was rough to watch. It was still pretty epic. And then it was also ironically enough, also the anniversary of the Magic and Kareem beating the Celtics for the last time in 1987, which was also the first of back-to-back titles. Who did they beat in 88? I think they beat the Pistons in 88. And then the Pistons went on to win back-to-backs of their own, 89, 90, and then their reign was over, and it was Jordan time. And then that's when the Lakers got back in the finals, 91, Bulls, Lakers. And the Bulls were actually, I think they were underdogs. But that was proven wrong right away. Or after game 1. I think the Lakers won game 1, and then the Bulls just won 4 straight, if I remember correctly. But that was the beginning of an era, obviously, with Jordan just taking over the league for a decade practically. Even when he was gone, it was just the Rockets back-to-back titles, and then he just took over again, 3 straight. And then, obviously, the Spurs and Lakers intertwined kind of dynasties. So yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. And then back to the Lakers coaching search. Dan Wokey had a report saying that James Borrego, and Sam Cassell, who were rumored to be, head coaching candidates, but also potential assistants under JJ Redick, which I thought was weird. I mean, you got 2 guys. One has been a head coach, one's been a long time assistant, and they're just gonna take a job under a guy who has 0 experience. That doesn't sound like fun, right? Even though JJ would get all the, the flack if they struggled, it's kind of undermining, right? Like, it's just doesn't make total sense. But apparently they are not interested in taking assistant roles. Can't blame them at all, especially if they've got interest around the league. I haven't heard Cassell being connected anywhere besides the Lakers, so I don't know about that. But Borrego seems to be deep in with the Cavaliers, which that could be it kind of gets the feel of being inevitable, but maybe it's like a bidding war that's behind the scenes between the Lakers and Cleveland. So I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of I don't know right now for everything going on with the Lakers, but that's the latest update with that. And then, interestingly enough, Bronny James out of nowhere does a pre-draft workout with the Lakers yesterday. And there's some footage that came out that's on my YouTube, my TikTok. I don't think I put it on Instagram, and then the Lakers Nation Instagram. Short clip of just him, scrimmaging. I think he makes a shot, and that's it. Nothing exciting. But it's becoming more and more real now that the Lakers could draft him on June 26th or June 27th, first round, second round. But there was another interesting rumor that dropped today about the Lakers because they have the number 17th overall pick because the Pelicans deferred to next year to take their final pick off the Lakers as a result of the Anthony Davis trade. But the rumor came out, Jake Fisher of Yahoo Sports said that the Lakers might be interested in trading up, which I thought was strange because this draft class is not exactly blowing anybody away. And you're hearing trade rumors from all teams, but all teams, I think outside of San Antonio, trading back. Because I think San Antonio has 2 picks in the top 8, I believe. And they might try and package those 2 to go up to number 1 to get Alex Sarr to pair him with Wembanyama, both, French stars. And obviously they have that reputation of, having great French players, Tony Parker, now Victor Wembanyama, and then bringing this kid too, which would be, I don't know how good this guy is. I mean, I've only heard his name. I haven't seen any footage. I just know he's a 7-footer. So, shore up the front court for sure, or the future of the front court. They still got a huge hole at guard. Who knows what they're going to do there? I've heard Darius Garland, but then today there was another report saying that Cavs aren't interested in trading Darius Garland. I don't know. It's Cleveland seems as confusing as LA right now. It seems like it all hinges on whether or not Donovan Mitchell signs an extension, which hasn't even been offered yet. At least not. It's not public knowledge. Anyway, so I thought that was interesting. I mean, I don't know who they're targeting. I think that Devin Carter, I believe, was a guard. They said a big or Devin Carter, right? But I haven't followed these players at all. So I have no idea because I can't follow the college game anymore. It's just too much turnover. It's unless the kid's like Zion or, somebody who's just a generational talent, doesn't really make headlines anymore. So I ain't got the time, man. I ain't got the time for that crap. I'll just wait until the draft process starts and then I'll learn about them because everybody's talking about them instead of having to dig and follow the games and tournament. So that's interesting. I mean, who knows what they do? I think everything's up in the air right now. I think they just got to get their head coach and maybe there'd be more of a clear path of or clear vision or indication of what they're going to do. So I have no clue what the hell they're going to do. It's all up in the air. Coach, moves, everything. I mean, it's I don't know. I just hope there's something positive down the road. I really do, because this is just one blow after the other. The Lakers are getting ripped apart right now because of their cheap or lowball offer to Hurley, which I didn't really think was lowball, $70 million for a guy who's never coached in the NBA. But I mean, I guess just like me saying if LeBron really wanted Hurley to call him, maybe meet up with him, have a lunch or something. But the Lakers, give him an offer, Godfather offer, like people have said, but they didn't, and now they're getting torn apart by it. It's not good optics for the Lakers. And then there's the whole Jerry West thing where they were the last to say anything about West. I think the Clippers were the first, then the NBA, then it was like one statement after the other, everyone reacting. And hours later, the Lakers come out with this like paragraph honoring Jerry West when you should do a full-on day of appreciating that man's accomplishments for what he did for the franchise. But there's clearly some bad blood there. They didn't want to go too far on, praising him for anything, because I think things just got really ugly. And I mean, I think somebody said the last thing he said about the Lakers was they were a shit show. And he's not totally wrong. It's been a shit show for a while. It's been difficult to, follow and understand the moves. It's and how do you deny a great mind like that coming back, and somebody with such a track record to put teams on the right path? It's just all bad. And then Gary Vitti, the old athletic trainer who went through the Showtime era all the way through the Kobe era and Kobe Shaq era to Kobe era, Powell. He made an interesting comment. Let me get this verbatim so I don't say something I shouldn't have. He worked from the team from 84 to 2016, quite a long time. I've interviewed this guy too, and he's an interesting cat. He kind of ripped me because it was back before podcasts were like the interview form or platform or medium. It was where, you record them, you transcribe, takes forever, especially with him with long-winded answers. And he came, I showed him a draft. I'm like, hey, here you go, Gary. It was super long and drawn out. I should have cut it down like by half. But anyway, I sent it to him, and he just ripped my grammar and the way I formatted it and everything. And I'm like, okay, man. Well, as long as you keep, the quotes the way they're supposed to be, feel free to send me a draft back that you have combed through. I'm a very smart man, just very particular. Very particular. An acquired taste, I'll say. I mean, he was nice to me. He could have been really vicious, but he wasn't. He was nice. He was just different, which happens. But yeah, he's obviously spent a long time with the team. And then he says the decisions that they've made, it makes it really hard to root for the Lakers. Not impossible, but it's hard. It's kind of crazy coming from a guy who spent that much time with the team. Because you're torn, because there's people that you love that were hurt. And he's referring to Jerry West. But it's impossible to root for the Celtics, obviously. If you have any purple and gold in your blood running through your veins, it'd be literally impossible to ever root for the Celtics. And I'm sure they feel the same way about us. I'm Team Jerry West, which most of us are. And no matter how things ended with Jerry and the Lakers, if he were still alive, who would never want I think this was an error here, the Celtics to win another championship? And I feel the same way. Yeah, well, it's unless the Mavericks pull off a miracle and be the first team in NBA history to come back from 0-3 in a series, it ain't gonna happen, Gary. Unfortunate. I thought Game 3 was where they could have turned it around, but Luka fouling out like that was just like, that was it. It's like popping a balloon, just seeing the air just come out. But it's unfortunate. The team has rubbed so many people the wrong way. People that are dedicated to this franchise and what it means, and the winning culture and all the players and everything. Vitti was there for what, 10 titles? 10 friggin' titles. Kind of crazy, man. It sucks. It really does. Sucks that it has to go this way, but hopefully, I'm hoping that things turn around and there's a bright future ahead. Yes, things look bleak, and that's unfortunate, but things can change in a day. 24 hours, things can turn around. So keep that positivity, Rouse, or as my Lakers Nation colleague, the optimist, would be extremely optimistic about what's happening, or take the optimistic things and run with it. I can't do that. I am a natural born pessimist. I see things down the road, and I think that comes with age too. And I'm older than Matt, so I've experienced a bit more, and I've covered this team for a lot longer than he has, and I've seen how things can turn. But they can also, like I said, they can also turn the other way. So Matt's got the right way to look at it. That's probably the way everybody should look at it. Hopefully we get some good news down the road here. I think things are going to wrap up real quick if the finals end tonight, with the whole Redick thing, whether or not he's truly the top guy or Borrego's the top guy. I mean, whatever the hell is going on in the front office with Palenka and Buss. But we shall see. So hopefully next time I come on here, we got some positive news, some pump us up, so I'm not exhausted talking to you and trying to make sense of the madness that has gone on. I don't know, man. Hopefully we get a flashback moment like you're in a year from now, and we're just like, oh, this is the anniversary of when this happened, but all positive, Whether that happens or not remains to be seen, which is the thing I used to put in my articles 100 times over. But that's the case. That's what we're dealing with. Until next time, peace.
Thank you for listening to Believe. You can show support to your host by subscribing to the show and giving us a 5-star rating on your preferred platform. Check us out at Believe.com and search for BLEAV on YouTube.
You know when you're listening to a true crime story that has an unbelievable plot twist that makes you stop in your tracks? That's what our podcast, People Are the Worst, brings you with each episode. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Rebecca. We're identical twins who love true crime cases that make you say, didn't see that coming, and we hate the people responsible for them. Listen to People Are the Worst now on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.